Hello and welcome to Two Indoor Gaming, and I'm doing something a step away from getting that Lumite equipment, which I said was going to be in my next episode. Well, that'll be the next episode, I promise. I'm just going to show two different aspects of the game in this episode. The first is how to make a mob spawner. This is my mob spawner you see before you in this daunting obsidian building. I just wanted something to look menacing, I guess, that says there be danger here. All it is basically a dark room with mobs in it, and then we see some nice warm worms. I found with this mob spawner I get about 3 warm worms whenever they appear. Now what this place is like a pretend biome. I'll put a light in here for you. All I've done is put down a single layer of natural blocks found in the biome of the mob that I want to spawn, in this case lava worms. They are actually one of the hardest mobs to find, and this is probably the most useful mob spawner I guess I've used is this lava level. All I've put down is a whole bunch of igneous rock with a couple of pieces of hardened lava, just so that it was a bit easier to see in here, but I didn't have much, so I just chucked a few down. All you need for a mob spawner is a dark space. Make sure it's dark. Even if the mobs naturally spawn during the day, I found it doesn't work if it's lit. Like I tried a canyon mob spawner in another world I had, and with light, even though I was looking for daytime mobs, they still wouldn't spawn. I actually had to take all the lights out, make it totally dim, and then they would. But yeah, you just need natural bricks. If you use manufactured bricks, they won't work. So if I had hardened lava floor in here rather than just hardened lava blocks, it wouldn't work apparently. You just create that space. I've got 15 by 15. Now I've done quite a bit of research on these mob spawners, and the info I was getting was a little confusing. Some said you needed 25 by 25 just to make sure, but the information I was able to gather is that basically this world is built with 10 by 10 chunks. That's how it sort of, yeah, I missed the spot. That's how it recognizes like a space in which to spawn. 10 by 10. So by doing 15 by 15, I'm ensuring that the majority of blocks in a chunk is going to be the right biome. Okay, so that produces the spawning conditions that brings out the mob you want. So you can put it in a cliff, you can put it surrounded by thatch or whatever, it doesn't matter, or you can just have it open and they'll only spawn at night time. Your choice, but the basic, all you need is 15 by 15. That's what I do. It works for me. You can make it bigger if you want. That chance you're increasing your chances of chests spawning. That can always happen too, because the nice flat spaces, nighttime conditions, you can get chests spawning in the dark as well. The bigger your space is. So that's pretty much it for mob spawners. Choose your block, make sure it's all from the same biome. Corruption stone will work for corruption mobs, or like I said, I've done it with canyon blocks. It's all fine. Just make it dark, and obviously at least 15 by 15, that works. If you do 10 by 10, obviously you're taking the risk that you're half in one chunk and half in the other, and then it won't be a majority and it won't work. So if I get more information than that, then I'll post it, but that's as much as I could researching that I could find, and a lot of that information was quite old, because I think for most people just putting a teleporter to the biome works just as well, and can be a lot simpler than creating some edifice like I have here. But like I said, I think lava worms, that's the one thing when trying to get those warm worms, aren't they? Not lava worms. Warm worm teeth. That's can be painstaking sometimes. So there you go. If you're looking just for a whole heap of corruption dust or a whole heap of this or that, then that can be a way for you to go. The other thing I wanted to show you is just a little bit on decoration and how to pretty up your world, I guess, which is just limited by two things. One, your imagination, and two, the blocks they give you. Yes, so that is a pretty big limitation. But rotation is your friend in making things just look a little bit different than they are. I've done something simple here with my paths. I've got just a nice little hedge barrier. Just gives a little effect. I was practicing using slabs and made a sort of like a pseudo rope bridge across to the canyon. I went across and anchored it and then came back. I've not actually explored that area. That's for the next episode. But the great thing about slabs, and I didn't realize this for a long time, I knew you could place them down, but they are fully... Check it out. You can rotate them, which means you've got a nice half block that can create like a barrier, a different kind of fence, or like I've done with this bridge. See, I'm going to put it back. There we go. I'll just show you here. It just creating little half steps and coming down rather than full blocks, which just looks too chunky to be remotely realistic. This still isn't supremely realistic as a rope bridge, but like I said, I was experimenting and trying different things with fences and whatnot. But you get a little of that idea. I'm trying to keep a sort of theme with this place, but you can get this crazy one. It's still mainly stone and wood variants with the limestone. I've got here a pier, and I'd like to put a little boat jetty here at some stage and see if I can't craft myself a boat out of blocks. Obviously it won't move, but if it could look like one, that'd be pretty cool. And I just changed the lamps out for the pier and used this banded weatherwood wall. That's not a standard recipe. I found that on a mob or in a chest. I can't remember which. So you can't unlock that. You've got to find it. Now some blocks don't how would you put it? Revolve all the way. Like these lamps, I can spin on the horizontal axis, but they won't spin on the vertical. You see that? It'll only go side to side basically, and that's a bit of a stinker when I notice that the lamps are flat on one side, but if you look at the other side, I'll just get up here. You see it's got like an opening for a pole. I assume that's what it is, or maybe it's some other function of gas venting, but when you look over here, if you flip the light, see that fits in perfectly and it looks quite cool. Like the lamp looks like it's been set on the pole rather than just sort of sitting on top. But because I can't flip the lamp and it will only sort of set at with that bit up top, so like if I put a lamp down, you see it has that at the top, and then I can only revolve it around on the horizontal, not the vertical, so that doesn't help me. So the only way I worked out how to do this, how to get them so it sits on the pole properly, and maybe they'll change this in another update, or maybe I'm just totally misconstruing the purpose of that hole, but still it looks better this way. This is what I did. Put 2 earth on top of the pole, and then I place it upside down. Like so. So the bottom's on the bottom of the other cube there, and now it's the right way up. So it's just a little trick that might help you in some of your decorations. The house obviously has been expanded a lot. From the 1 square, I've basically turned it into 8 squares or cubes. I'm not really happy with how the outside looks, but I am quite happy with how the inside looks. I quite like this little balcony here, and I borrowed this sort of archway design from Curious Key, and you'll find a link. I'll put a little square up there in the corner, should be there right now, to his videos. Very good. He's got an awesome build going along in the canyon biome. It has to be seen to be believed. He's dying a lot because they're tough there, but he is making something that looks really good. So check that out. And he's got some really nifty decoration ideas that I have gleefully stole with permission. Okay. Now, so inside, this has become my crafting room. And so we have the furnaces here, a chest just for fuel, for leaves and wood and stuff. This is a recurring feature, the vases with the what are they? The wildflowers, right? Now, when you put something in that space, it will look like if you placed it. So the problem is, even though there are other flowers, if I put those instead, so I take the wildflower out and I put in the wildwood flower, that's a block. And that looks pretty silly. Right? So it goes in how you craft, how you harvest it. So obviously the wildflowers are on the ground looking like that when you pick them up. So when you place them, they look like that again. So unfortunately, that it doesn't recognize, oh, this is a vase, what do I look like? This depiction rather than a chunky block. So at the moment, there's very few options if you want vases of flowers. But that looks pretty good. I've got here a simulated workbench and of course all my technical manuals. And remember the shelves, you can put certain blocks on there. Not all of them, unfortunately, because some things would look really cool up there. So I've just put a few more flower pots up there just to sort of simulate like containers and nails or something. So just giving it a little bit of that feel of a workshop there. As I had planned, I've got a central staircase between these rooms. It goes up in there, and I've tucked in my touchstone there for when I return home. This is my storage area, but just because it's a storage area doesn't mean it has to be ugly. So it's still got flowers, and we're all just alternating, just for a little bit of contrast, the two different types of architect chests. So now, of course, you can name your chests. So if I was to put it here, mushrooms, like so. You can name each of them just by using that little function. Oh, it's night time, so I have guests. Go away. Let me close the door. Hey, it's not night time. What was he doing in there? Why wasn't he on fire? Okay, that is strange. Anyway. So yeah, it's named, and now when I point at it, you'll see just above my stamina and health bars, it'll tell me what's in there. So you don't actually need to signpost it if you don't want, if you're happy to go around and look for that little word. But I like it to be big and bold and obvious. It's just quicker for me to scan here than to point at each one and get close enough and go, okay, this one's this one's this. That I can just scan, okay, this is what I got. So I use simple. Organize yours however you want. You know, I've separated into blocks basically, fossil layer, the layer they come in. Then there's tools, a few odds and ends, and then the items that you build. So I've separated the items from the blocks, the basic items. And there we go. Decorative items, water, ice, lighting glass, potions, bombs, so on and so forth. I do have some weapons here for surplus, though of course you can keep those in your weapon racks as well. Now down here we have the dining room. So I have the nice long table for when all my friends show up for eating. A cooking station with a couple of benches made out of architect tables. And here I've used the slabs to create a little bit of a sink effect. It's not super happy. I couldn't find anything to go on the ledge there that I was happy to make look like taps. And I played a little bit without revolving that ledge, but I just wasn't happy. I'll wait to see what they add and that functionality. And here I've actually got a flower pot with water in it for the sink, and that creates a very interesting effect. It's totally flat because there's nothing on each side to give it a direction to hold to, so it's totally flat, and you know, it's not perfect, but it gives a little bit of a feel of a sink with water in it. So that's the dining room. So if you've got a build that you're proud of, please provide me a link in the comments. I'd love to check it out. I'd love to steal all your best ideas. And feel free to steal mine. Nothing's new under the sun. I've never done anything that hasn't been done 100 times before. But there's my spiral staircase. Over here is just sort of like the library, and I've used glass blocks here to give, well, one that gave downstairs a more open effect, and up here it just creates a little, I don't know, a coolness to things. So we've got some nice shelves. Of course, remember these, you can store stuff in here if you want. You've got that option. So it's just a reading area. I don't know if I'll add more here. It feels a little bare, but not too bad. I guess you don't want to squish everything in and make it claustrophobic. Here is the bathroom, done in tasteful tiles and a pretty diamond door just to keep the theme going. Here we have the basin, wash basin, and I found that putting a arc stone on the shelf, just like so, gives a little bit of a look of a bar of soap. To me anyway. Over here is the commode, so you can sit on your porcelain throne, and I've just used some diamond stairs there, just revolve those around, once again using the slabs as a containment area that holds in the water. Here's the bath, diamond slabs, and what looks inviting. I think a stun grenade looks a little bit like a shampoo bottle. There's another bar of soap, and we put some shells on the wall, just like so, because shells are placeable, obviously. Yeah, so that's good. It's a pity some of those fancy potions, and somebody mentioned this in the comments, totally agree, that the fancy potions, there's one that looks like a Chizard and one Ode to Pixie, that they look cool on the shelves, but they don't work, unfortunately. Here's what I was talking about with the weapons rack. Got some swords, surplus swords, because this is the bedroom. It's a little bare. I couldn't really think of too much more I wanted to put in here with the space I had. I was hoping I could put the scrolls, the excess recipes, and the recipe books up here, but they don't go there either. I thought that would have looked nice, just a little sitting area, and of course out to that balcony. Here we go. I have used those wildwood flowers here along the side because they glow at night, as I mentioned previously, and I thought that would be nicer than trying to rig up a light pole or something. Just have these glowing nicely at night time. And a nice place to sit, watch the view, my water view. Ah yes, very nice. Survey my domain. So yeah, and of course there's my teleporter courtyard over there. Obviously there's lots more I want to do, and I must say, I was never into decorating in Minecraft. I just was not inspired, but the more I did here, the more I wanted to do. And then the more I felt like, well, I gotta do more. I can't show this off half done. And I'm really excited by just the options here, and to think that hopefully they're going to be adding a lot more blocks. I certainly voted for that in the poll that they've got on what to work on next. So that would be cool. I'd love to be able to do more. Okay, so there's just a few ideas. Obviously you can play around with the different textured blocks. So you can see over here I've got limestone, the pillar that has the horizontal lines on it. Just you can get at some crazy designs using those. Just knock yourself out, and like I said, please, I'd love to see what you've done. Include a link for a screenshot or whatever. That'd be awesome. Okay, hope you've liked this on mob spawners, and just a little sort of intro into some of the possibilities. Believe me, there are so much more out there. Actually, before I do go, I just probably shouldn't have jumped forward there. One thing is, in the way that you can really get some options going, let's see, do I have, is using the revolve function with things like, I can put this here and here. So you've got a triangle function. What can you do with that? It's being creative like that, looking for some of those options and seeing what you can do. Like, because with the slabs, when you put those down, they sort of mark the side. Yeah, one side or one half of the block they inhabit. So, oops, sorry, switch. So I can put two of these back to back for just sort of a half brick effect. Obviously I can't put anything else in that square, it is occupied, but I've got a cube that's suddenly off center from the regular one. So if I put, you know, something there and there, turn around. I don't know, you're giving yourself some different options. Take that off. Like I put this here and here, and we've got something that's a little offset. Anyway, so play around with that. You can put two of the wall shelves together, and that creates an interesting shape. I haven't figured out anything I'd like to do with that, but you know, things like that. You got your options. Play around and have fun, and definitely show me what you've done. Okay, I'll catch you next time. We'll definitely get onto that Lumite armor.